Hello guys, nice to see you. Today we will see about the introduction part of physiology. So before we are going to the topic, first let us describe about the content of the course. So we will see about the introduction to physiology. We will see about introduction part, composition of the human body, and history of the physiology, homeostasis and control mechanism, that is feedback control mechanism. Like feedback control mechanism is negative feedback and positive feedback, and we will see control systems, body control systems, all chapters or all systems of the body, and body fluid compartments. So this is covered under the introduction to physiology. The other is chapter 2. Chapter 2 is indicates about the membrane or cell physiology. First we will see about the cell and its organelles, then intracellular connections and communications between cells. So that means communication between cells means about the junctions between cells or types of junctions. The other is about structure of cell membrane, transport across cell membranes, diffusions, about osmosis, endocytosis, exocytosis and active transport. And chapter 3 will be muscle physiology. In muscle physiology we will see about the structure and function of the muscles. Skeletal muscle, smooth muscle and cardiac muscle is grouped under this group muscle groups, and we will see about muscle groups and movements, and we will see also about the physiology of muscle contraction, contractile mechanisms, neuromuscular junction, and that's the junction between nerve and muscle, and excitation contraction coupling, and length tension relationship in skeletal muscle, and maintenance of posture and tone will be covered under muscle physiology. And chapter 4 mentions about the blood physiology. We will see about the composition and function of various constituents of blood, like blood volume and constituents, and blood plasma constituents, and hemopoiesis, erythrocytes or red blood cells, and we will see about blood groups, types of blood groups, and blood coagulation, destruction of red blood cells and jaundice, leukocytes, immune system and platelets, and homeostasis will be covered under this chapter. And chapter 5 is about the physiology of cardiovascular system. In this system we will see about heart, about structure and functions of the heart, physiological anatomy of the heart, circulation, composition of the circulation, components of the circulation, basic process of excitation and excitation contraction processes, electrocardiography, conduction system and function, cardiac cycle, biophysics of blood flow or hemodynamics, regulation of cardiovascular system, regulation of heart rate, blood pressure, blood vessels, about structure of blood vessel, circulation and lymphatic system, and also immunological function also covered under this chapter. The other is respiratory physiology, the structure and function of respiratory system, mechanisms of respiration, regulation of respiration, exchange and transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide, mechanisms of pulmonary ventilation, pleural and alveolar pressure, pulmonary volumes and pulmonary capacities, and also disorders related with the respiratory system will be covered here. The other is the renal physiology. In the renal physiology we will see about the structure and function of renal system, renal blood flow, control of renal blood flow, glomerular filtration rate, reabsorption, secretion, renal clearance, control of renal fluid and electrolyte balance, acid-base balance and disturbance. This is also covered under renal physiology. And in chapter 8 we will see about the gastrointestinal physiology. In this physiology we will see about structure and function, movement of GIT, gastrointestinal system, digestion and absorption in the GIT, regulation of GIT, mechanism of action and regulation of salivary, gastric, bile, pancreatic and intestinal secretions, transport and mixing of food in the alimentary canal, and defecation reflex. Secretory function of the GIT will be also covered, like oral cavity, esophagus, gastric wall, pancreas, bile, liver, small intestine and large intestine will be observed. And endocrine physiology is chapter 9. So structure and functions of glands will be seen, and chemical classification of hormones, regulation of endocrine secretions, hypothalamic and pituitary function, thyroid function, hormonal control of calcium, function of adrenal cortex and anterior medulla, endocrine function of pancreas, hormones of gonads, control of endocrine function and endocrine disorders will be covered. Chapter 10 is about reproductive physiology. We will see about male reproduction, structure and functions of reproductive organs, spermatogenesis, androgenic hormones and their role in reproduction, female reproduction, about structure and function of female reproductive system, the effect of cyclic changes in ovarian hormones like estrogen and progesterone, female reproductive cycle, female puberty, and endocrine aspects of pregnancy. And chapter 11 is about neurophysiology. This is includes about central nervous system and autonomic nervous system. So we will see about introduction of nervous system, structure and function of neurons and glial cells, organization of nervous system, conduction of nerve impulses, synaptic transmission and reflex action, physiology of cerebellum and basal ganglia, somatic visceral sensory system and autonomic nervous system. Finally, we will see about special sciences, physiology of vision, physiology of hearing and equilibrium, and physiology of taste, olfactory and skin. So this is chapter 2. This is all about the courses which will be covered under physiology course. So this is, you can use all this as a reference. And now we are starting about the physiology, introduction to physiology. Now in this PowerPoint we will cover about the first chapter of physiology. This is the lecture outline. We will see about history of physiological science and fluid compartment of our body, and regulatory mechanisms of human body functions, like how homeostasis works and how feedback mechanism will be working. So feedback mechanism is having a negative and positive feedback mechanism, and feed forward mechanism also will be covered. So this is our objectives of this course. And now physiology is the study of the normal functioning of the living organism and its component parts, including all chemical and physical processes. So physiology study about the normal function of our body or the living organism, and physiology study about how organs of our body, how functions will be done, how our organ system will be controlled each other, and how one organism control the other organism, and how our body works is as a function of is the main function of the physiology. So physiology study about how our body works, how our body functions, how body organs control each other is the main function of the physiology. In general, physiology is known as natural knowledge. Is known as the natural knowledge. That means it's study about the natural process of our body. So fields of physiology, it ranges from simple viral physiology to the most complex human physiology. The most study about from the simple viral physiology to the ranks up to the most complex human physiology. So human physiology explains the specific characteristics and mechanisms of the human body that make the living being, that make it a living being. So this means explain the specific characteristics and mechanisms of the human body that make it living being. So we remain alive as a result of complex control systems of our body. For instance, we seek food due to hunger, and most of the time we seek refuge due to fear or due to feeling of fear, and sensation of cold make us look for warm. So we are just obligated to find a warm thing due to any response for cold. So these three special attributes or characteristics allow us to exist under widely varying conditions, which otherwise would make life impossible. So an important part of physiology is understanding how different parts of the body are controlled, how they interact each other, how they adapt to the changing conditions. This is one of the important part of physiology. When we see historical background of physiology having a wide, diverse background or historical background, but these three things are selected. So based on that, we have seen William survey in 1628. He found about the heart circulation. So heart have two sets. The one is this is, for instance, where if this is heart having two sets, this is an artery, this is a vein. So that so the blood is pumped out from the heart on one set, this set, and returned to the heart through another set. So this is a vein, this is an artery. So artery is a vessel which carry oxygenated blood away from the heart. Vein is a vessel which carry deoxygenated blood towards the heart. So this concept first introduced by William Harvey in 1628. So the 19th century, Claude Bernard described that every cell in the body is bathed with a fluid environment called extracellular fluid. So this extracellular fluid is named to be internal environment of the body. So as Bernard said that this is cell. This is when you say, for example, if you say this is cell, so structures around the cell is water or fluid. So this fluid is bases the cell. So this fluid environment which is found outside the cell is considered to be extracellular fluid, or we can say internal environment of the body. So every cell is bathed or covered by water. So this covering water is known to be extracellular fluid, or we can say interstitial fluid. So this concept is described by Bernard. So the other scientist is known as Cannon. Cannon is mentioned about homeostasis. So maintenance of constant conditions in the extracellular fluid is called homeostasis. So the internal environment of the body or extracellular fluid should be at constant condition. So this process is known as homeostasis. Our body system working in harmony or in balance, we can say homeostasis. So this idea is introduced by Walter Cannon. So this is a selected point of historical background of physiology. So when we see the relationship between physiology and other sciences, physiology has a strong link with other disciplines, mainly having highly association with anatomy, biochemistry, pathology, and pharmacology. So they are having strong relationship with these other fields. So physiology is a quantitative science. So all physiology, that means since physiology is a quantitative science, all physiological parameters are expressed in numbers. So when we see the levels of structural organization of the human body, there is chemical level, cell, tissue, organ, system, organism. So at chemical level there is atom, subatomic level atom, and then from atom there is molecule. From molecule it will goes into organelles, then molecule, macromolecule, organelles, then each organelle together gives a cell. Cell is the structural and functional units of the human body. So there is about 100 trillion cells in human body. So and about 200 different types of cells found in our body. So similar cells which have similar origin, ancestor and function group together and gives us tissue, and then similar tissues gives us also organ, then organ gives us system. So about 11 system gives us the whole organism, human. So this is a chemical level, so a molecule in the membrane that encloses cell. So this is a chemical level, and this one is a cellular level, and this one is tissue level, layers of tissue in the stomach wall. This is a tissue, so this is an organ, stomach, and this is system, esophagus, liver, something. This is gastrointestinal system or digestive system. So structural level of organization going to this way. So to give more clarification, there is subatomic level here, and there is also subatomic particle gives us atom is combined together and gives us molecule, and molecules gives us macromolecule, then it gives us organelle, this mitochondria, and organelles are together gives us cell, and cells together gives us tissue, and tissue gives us organ, then organ gives us system. This is alimentary canal. This is also axillary organs. So axillary organs with alimentary canal, it is together we can say gastrointestinal system, we can say digestive system. So then this is one system, but there are other 10 systems. All system together will give us an organism, human organism. So it seems like just like this is the human body level of organization. So when we see the cell, like at chemical level, it will be covered in biochemistry, but now we will see about starting from cell. Cell is the basic structural functional unit of an organism. It is the smallest living of the human body and a big role in making our body function properly. So cells are important for metabolism, reproduction, and different functions. So since cells are working in harmony, so our body will be healthy or will be well. So entire body or the human body contains about 100 trillion cells. Each type of cell is specially adapted to perform one or few particular functions. For instance, red blood cells can transport oxygen from lung to different parts of the body tissues. Each cell has basic requirement to sustain it, and the body organ systems are providing this many cells with those basic needs like oxygen, food, and also removing waste products. This is the functions of cell. So this is 100 trillion cells. For instance, red blood cell is about 25 trillion, and these 100 trillion cells are grouped under 200 different types of cell groups. So there are many different types of cells in the body. For instance, there is nerve cells, blood cells, epithelial cells, and muscle cells. Nerve cells are used for controlling and integrating and controlling of the human body. So it's very important for control system, and blood cells are important for transporting and protecting our body, transporting oxygen and carbon dioxide, and protecting against infections, and having different types of function. And also epithelial cells are important for protection, absorption, secretion, and muscle cells are important for movement. So different types of cells, identical or similar cells having similar origin, similar function cells are grouped together and gives us tissue. When many identical cells are organized together, it's called tissue. There are four main types of tissues. The first group is epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle tissue, and nervous tissue. 4 organs are structures that are made of two more different types of tissues. Two more different types of tissues are considered as tissues. Organs are made up of two or more different types of tissues. So organs also gives us system. So system consists of related organs that have common function. So there are 11 organ systems in the body. The first system, respiratory system, cardiovascular system, digestive system, urinary system, reproductive system, skeletal system, muscular system, and integumentary, nervous system, endocrine system, lymphatic and immune system are considered as physiological system. Sometimes this lymphatic system is grouped under cardiovascular system and named as circulatory system. So immune system also go to there, but we can also differentiate in separate ways like this. So this is about respiratory system is about, we'll study about how we breathe, how we enter and remove oxygen and carbon dioxide in the body, how these gases are exchanged together. Cardiovascular system also study about how blood vessel, heart will function, how it functions. And digestive system is also how food is chewing, swallowed and chewed, swallowed and digested and absorbed. And urinary system is very important for how urine is formed, how waste products are excreted. And reproductive system is also how reproduction will be studied under reproductive system. Skeletal system is about bone, muscular system is about muscle, integumentary is about skin, the largest organ in the body. And nervous system is about how brain and spinal cord and nerves function. And endocrine system is about glands, about pituitary gland, pineal gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid gland, adrenal gland, and other types of glands. And lymphatic and immune system, how body defends our body, how our immune defends our body. Lymphatics also how body fluids workers will be covered in this course. So system, for instance, cardiovascular system is this one. So this is arteries, this is veins, so this is blood vessels, this is heart. You can say cardiovascular system. And this is GIT. It starts from the mouth, esophagus, pharynx, esophagus, liver, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and pancreas, something like that. Spleen. This is our GIT. And this is the respiratory system. Starts from nose, pharynx, nasopharynx, laryngopharynx, and trachea, larynx, trachea, and bronchi, bronchioles, and lung. This is also renal system. It includes 2 kidneys, 2 ureter, bladder and urethra. And this is bone, skeletal system, and this is our muscle, so we can say muscular system. So all these systems gives us organism, human organism. So now we are starting the second types of section, which is body fluid. Our adult human body weight is composed of water, protein, fat, and mineral. Water is contains about 60%, protein is 18%, and fat is 15%, mineral is 7%. And what is body fluid? Body fluid is a body water, and its dissolved substance are considered as body fluid. So 60% of total body fluid weight is water. So total or body fluid. So body fluid weights about 60%. So total body water in 70 kilogram adult man is 42 liter. 42 liter. So 42 liter of water is found in 70 kilogram. 70 kilogram man. So when we see this 42 liter water or fluid can be divided into 2 compartments. The first compartment is intracellular fluid compartment, and we can say milieu interior. The other extracellular fluid compartment. So intracellular fluid compartment is a fluid which is found within the cell. So it weighs about 28, contains 28 liter. So which is 2/3 of total body weight. So 28 times 2 or divided by 3 gives us, 42 times by 2 over 3 gives us 28 liter. And extracellular fluid is a fluid which is outside the cell, and it gives us 40 liter. This means 42 times 1 over by 3 gives us 40 liter. So now extracellular fluid is also divided into two. We can say blood plasma and interstitial fluid. So this blood plasma is intravascular fluid. So it weighs 1/4 of extracellular fluid. So this means 14 times by 1 divided by 4, it gives us 3.5 liter. And also interstitial fluid is a fluid which is outside the cell. So this weighs about measures about 3/4 of extracellular fluid. This means 3 times by 14 over by 4 gives us 10.5 liter. So meaning blood plasma is 3.5 liter, interstitial fluid is 10.5 liter. Some books says that this is 3 and this is 11, but this is this is compartments. So this is 70 kilogram human or man. This 70 kilogram man is contains 60% of body weight. So this 60% body weight is 42 liter of water, and 42 liter, and the other one is 40%, so it weighs 28 kilogram. This is non-water. And now from 60% of water, we can divide two-thirds of this 60% is or 42 liter is 28 liter. This is named to be intracellular fluid. This is 28 liter. So this is 40 liter or one third of this one. 42 liter is known as extracellular fluid outside the cell, fluid inside the cell. So extracellular fluid also divided by 10.5 liter is extravascular fluid, and 3.5 liter is intravascular fluid. So 1 liter extra fluid raises weights of 1 kilogram. So 1 liter and 1 kilogram is equivalent. Now this is a blood vessel. This is for red blood cells here. So this is a red blood cell. So this is plasma also. In plasma, this is 3.5. This is 3.5 liters is weighted by plasma. So this is capillary. This is interstitial fluid. It weighs 10.5. So this is cells. So these cells are surrounded by fluid. This fluid is interstitial fluid. So interstitial fluid is a part of extracellular fluid. So this is the cell. So fluid within the cell is known as intracellular fluid. So there is communication between this blood vessel and interstitial fluid, and also there is communication between the interstitial fluid and intracellular fluid or cell. Now this is plasma 3.5, and this is interstitial fluid 10.5. So between the plasma and the interstitial fluid there is communication here, and between cell membrane, that means between intracellular fluid and interstitial fluid also there is communication here. So total body water is 60% of the body weight. So 20% is extracellular fluid. So this 20% is interstitial fluid, plasma, and transcellular fluid. Transcellular fluid is a special type of extracellular fluid. So transcellular fluid, plasma, and interstitial fluid, these three things weighs about 20% of the body weight, and intracellular compartment is 40% of the body weight is intracellular compartment. So 20% of extracellular fluid and 40% of intracellular fluid, it gives us 60%. So now this is cell, this is intracellular, this is intracellular fluid,